Well, hello again, and thanks for joining us for our Friday Fun Chat with the Chamber member. And I'm with Sean DeVault, and I'm not at a restaurant, but the name of the business is Entré. So we're going to be visiting with him a little bit about what Entré is, what type of company they are, and the services they offer. All right, Sean, well, hey, again, welcome. And I know you came up today, and it's a little bit snowy, but thanks for coming on up from Helena. But just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Entré.
Sure. So I'm a Great Falls native. Moved to Helena a couple years ago with my wife. It's that nice separation from my parents a little bit. And so, I've been with Entré for almost, I think it's 4 years. It could be 3 years. It gets hazy this last year. I don't know if you counted or not. And we're an IT service company, and we have locations throughout the state. Entré is an old name that we had since about the 80s, and we've kicked around, possibly changing that name at some point. But I guess it means enter in another language, and so that is, someone thought it was a great idea to call it Entré. And so we've stuck with it, and basically what we do is provide technology support for businesses between 10 to 200 users. Really, what we focus on is just a couple things. One is charging fair pricing and responding quickly. And we know if we do those two things pretty well, then we're going to have everybody happy to work with us. And so we've been doing that for about 30 years. So headquartered out of Billings. And we've been here in Great Falls, I want to say, for 7 years. And so, it's been awesome. And we love the Great Falls community.
No, and I remember meeting when you first came in, you, Sean, and the CEO, Brandon, as well, too, and you kind of were meeting with us. And I was just very impressed with a couple of things. Number one, you guys were very focused on meeting customers' needs from a IT, information technology perspective. Again, for people of my generation, that's what IT is. But IT services, and then what you guys can do. But then really, I was very impressed with customer service. You guys are huge on, and you mentioned fair pricing, but then that customer service aspect. So maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Your focus on that.
Sure. So one of the things, whenever we walk into a new client, you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what they have and is it the right fit. And so what we decided to do was just create a package that includes everything from backup batteries to networking equipment to wireless routers, because a lot of those things people have replaced previously, but maybe it's not the newest stuff. And so we try to remove a lot of those roadblocks and supply all that stuff so we don't have to keep coming back and go, oh, you need to replace this, oh, you need to replace that. We just provide all of that part of it is when they sign up with us. We just basically hand them all this equipment, and of course the important stuff that is always affecting people today and always changing from the network security side is always consistently changing, and so we provide that too as part of it, and we don't come back and ask for them for anything else. We just provide it, and same with network backup is we provide all of that stuff too. And then there's just stuff that happens from need a computer installed or we need this virus removed. So we want to be able to respond quickly to that type of stuff. And so that's really what we've been focusing in on, is if we can get our tools in there to mitigate a lot of that stuff and make things work better. And then just that day-to-day stuff from fixing kind of random issues. And then another thing that we're building on and trying to do a lot better job at is the consulting side of it, as we know IT changes, and kind of getting ahead of that. So that's going to be kind of our focus this year is helping people kind of get ahead of that. Before it was like, oh yeah, hey, your server's old, get ready to replace it. So we want to get ahead of that curve by 12 months, 18 months, and to give them a bunch of time to do that instead of going 3-4 months. Go, oh yeah, this thing's aging out. So we're trying to get that all implemented, and I think that this year's going to be a good year for us.
Good. So it sounds like you would really come in, let's just use the chamber as an example, you would come in and kind of do an audit or an inventory of our server, backup server, what are our battery backup as well too, and then how many stations we have, where's our wireless routers, kind of the whole network system from the hard components to, again, the wireless components as well too, and then determine the age, probably the capacity levels of them as well too, and then say, okay, this is what you're looking at if we were to come in and recommend replacements or upgrades on certain things, and then again, take a look at capacity levels as well too.
Yeah, exactly. So right when we go in and start working with the client, we have this gigantic checklist that we have to go through. Once that's completed, we have a very good idea of what needs to be done. And then a lot of folks come to us with ideas that they have. For example, should I move to the cloud? That's always that conversation that we have a lot of, and talk with them to see if it makes sense and do some cost comparison with them. But yeah, once we have those things implemented, hopefully we're just talking computer replacements and those things that kind of just happen occasionally. Those bigger projects we do a little bit more consulting on and try and prepare those clients for those larger costs that will be coming down the pipe.
And you know what I like, because it's one of those things that sometimes you walk into a business and you take a look at sometimes the age of the equipment that you currently have. And what I like that you mentioned is that you can say, you're probably looking at 18 months to 2 years to possibly replace this. And again, those are things that help me out with budgeting.
Right.
I mean, obviously we don't have a huge budget, but as we can take a look and say, okay, we're going to need a new server, we need to upgrade the network, the end network here in this office, then we can at least plan for that in our budgeting purposes as well too.
Yep, that's a huge thing, and that's really kind of one of our main focuses is trying to help businesses budget. So we'll do a lot of our services are month to month, so it's a flat fee every month, so they know what they're paying from that standpoint. And then from the project side, we try and include everything that we can from an annual basis, but those larger projects that happen every 5 or 10 years, we want to give them enough heads up to budget for those type of projects, because those are the things that usually blindside people. They're used to paying that month-to-month deal, and then all of a sudden a big server project hits. So we try and soften that blow. We go at our customer speed. We don't try and push things along. And help them make good decisions and answer all the questions that they have too. So it's just technology is one of those things that that complicates a lot of things, or it's complicated to talk about sometimes, but everybody relies on it. And what we try and do is, I think one of the big focuses that we try and do is, can you go into your job and can you go to work? And if we can accomplish those two things, that's not very technical. Can you sit down and can you do your job? And if we do those two things, then they're not going to be worried about their IT or their network security, as long as they can walk in and do that. So that's definitely a focus of our business.
You bet. So then you also mentioned viruses and removing them. So any chance of you guys removing the coronavirus from the world at all?
No.
Okay, just
No,
thought I'd ask. So I guess that's probably an issue, especially these days where we were so used to going to the brick and mortar and to our offices and working, and now remotely. Have you guys been getting a lot of calls on that as well too, on how to help?
I would think that almost all of our clients can work remotely now. That's all we did April last year. They're slowly trickling back into the office. I think some folks like it. We saw a lot of our customers with remote physical locations shut them down and just had folks work from their homes. And so, I think that it was kind of I don't know if it will stay like that forever. I think that most people did a pretty good job of working remotely, but there are new challenges. Your home internet may not be as good as your connection in your office, and so that's kind of a big bottleneck right there. Or even the security side of it, is your home network as secure as your office network? We didn't really run into too many issues. I think that there are some folks that work super remotely in Montana, out in the woods, and their internet connectivity is probably pretty bad. But I think that was about it in terms of maybe some complaints. But yeah, I think it was successful. I was actually pretty surprised. I think all of our clients worked well last year, which I don't know if that's if they can blame us for that, but they were all able to. We didn't have anybody come in. There were some small medical offices and things like that shut down for a little bit, but majority of our clients just kept working like they had been. So it's pretty good.
Good. Good. Now, you also mentioned, and I think you joined the chamber about 2.5 years ago. I know Kelly's coming up on her 3-year anniversary, and it was Kelly and I that sat down with you. So, how's the Great Falls market been? How's the relationship with the chamber? Has it been good? What are your thoughts on the Great Falls market as a whole as well?
Yeah, you guys have been great, and really, we toss ideas out, and you guys come back with good ideas for us, and it's been really great working with you guys, and we really try to take advantage of every idea that you have. So I think next week we have Brandon doing a training.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah, we try and be involved as much as we can, and in terms of the Great Falls market, actually it's been really, really good for us. It's one of those markets that when we have Great Falls and Helena and Bozeman, and it's kind of this string of cities that we have, and Great Falls actually does very, very well compared to those other locations. So yeah, we've been really happy with Great Falls in particular. So, and it's great because I get to come home. So.
Yep. So I was just going to mention that too. So you want a little bit of separation from your parents. You didn't want to live in their basement, so obviously, which is great. But so you live in Helena. But when you come home to visit the parents, and you've got the weekend off or a 4-day weekend, what do you like to do? Where's the old stomping grounds?
Well, I'm still a pretty big fan of Borey's. I think that every place my parents are sick of. So if I want to get a Howard's Pizza, it's probably not going to happen. But I like going to Borey's, and then when we do bring our kiddos up here, we love to go to Gibson Park, and I still like to go out to Ryan Dam on a nice day, and it's a nice drive. And I think some people kind of forget about that area over there.
You know what? What's neat again, I'll play off the name Entré, but really you can almost say it's a buffet as well too. I mean, you guys offer so much with the audit, the checklist, the huge checklist, taking a look at the current situation in any business, recommending upgrades, offering your services, IT services as well too, cybersecurity, protection against viruses, and more than just providing it, but also proactively working with the business, with the company to anticipate future needs. And while you want to fit the current needs, what's coming down the road to make sure that they're buying right, but not overselling.
Right. Yeah, so really, we've had this model that we're service-oriented. We're not product-oriented. We're not trying to sell people, the super high-end computers or whatever. So we call ourselves a technology services company, and that's really what we are.
So really, Entré is an IT services consulting company. And if you have any IT needs, or if you think that there's an opportunity for just someone to come in and take a look at what you currently have and discuss with you some options that you might have or need for your growth of your company, or maybe you're going to add some more people to your company or business, or just the changes in what's going on in the world today. Make sure you give Sean a call at Entré. They'd be more than happy to just come visit with you, to get to know you more than anything, build that relationship. And if you're able to do business, that's great. So again, Sean, thank you. Thanks for coming up and joining us. And I'm sure you're going to go out to Borey's with your folks tonight for dinner. But thanks for joining us today at our Friday Fun Chow at the Chamber.